Brilliant. So it's lovely to see some familiar faces and new faces. And we're really pleased to be able to talk to you about this opportunity. We were really excited when we saw this come up. But just a little bit about us. So we're Better Connect. We're a non-for-profit organisation, and we've been going for quite some time now, actually, since 2007. You may have known us previously as your consortium. We rebranded a few years ago. We have a really strong track record of leading programmes across Yorkshire, working as a really trusted partner with over 200 VCSE organisations now, and all with a mission really to transform people's lives. We've secured over 30 million funding in and social investment. And some of you may have worked with us on Talent Match and the Community Grants programme, which we ran across West Yorkshire. Today, what we really want to do is to talk to you about a vision on this call, and we'll also give you some practical, this is how the process will work, but also a little bit about us and how we work and how we'd love you to join us. So just in terms of, Alex, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide, our partnership model. So what we're trying to achieve here, we believe, and we've been doing this for quite some time, we're experts in actual program management, and we know that you're experts in delivering the support that you do and the interventions. So we just focus on that program management, and we don't compete with frontline delivery. So that's one thing to know. We also really want to build strong relationships, so we take the time to understand your organisation and how you are delivering that support. Our programme is very much geared to work with organisations that are aligned with our values, and we really want to get across to the funders who fund these programmes the impact that you make through our delivery. But fundamentally, we work hard to develop strong and trusted relationships with all of our key stakeholders. And it's our genuine belief that working together, we will be stronger and we can reach more people that we need to. One of the big things that I wanted to say today is that informs everything we do really is the participant, the people that we are here to support. So our whole programme is focused around a person-centred approach. Alex, if you can move to the next slide. So we've supported so many participants through our programmes. All of those have had multiple challenges. So what our programmes are trying to achieve through you, the VCSE organisations, is a holistic and person-centred approach. I was really pleased to see in the last few weeks that the Institute of Employment Studies commissioned a report on the future of employment support and what this should look like in the future. And actually, one of our programmes, Action Towards Inclusion, which has this person-centred approach, which is what we're trying to achieve in this next programme, using locally rooted community organisation, was endorsed in that report. It's the only one that was endorsed in Yorkshire, which is a shame because there is a lot more going on as well. But really, really pleased to do that. But actually, this point around that there's so many challenges which the people that we support are experiencing, and actually having that ability through our sort of key worker model that we have, which Emma will talk about, allows people, whatever their problem is, to work with someone to build up and to overcome those challenges. So we've worked with people with mental health challenges, with neurodiverse challenges, all sorts, ex-offenders, and we wanted to really get across that actually, whatever that support is, we take that holistic approach. So that was the sort of main bit that I just wanted to talk about in terms of Better Connect. But we have been going for a while. We were your consortium. We love West Yorkshire. We've been in there, and we've covered some really great programmes, which we're really proud of. And one thing to say is we've just actually released our impact report, which sets out some of those programmes and what was achieved. And I think we're going to put the link to that in our chat function as well, just so you can look at some of the other programmes we've been running. But delighted you could be with us today. And Emma's now going to just talk you through our vision for this programme and how you could work with us. Thanks, Emma.
Awesome. Thank you, Natasha. So, good morning, everybody. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you're all very well rehearsed in UK Shared Prosperity Fund. I know there's been a lot of correspondence over probably the last couple of months about sort of the funding that's available, the different pillars that they're trying to support. And what I would like to say for this part is when the Combined Authority released Pillar 3, we're genuinely excited. Like Natasha said, we have worked in West Yorkshire before. We ran a very, very successful programme called Talent Match, and it's nice to see some of the partners here today, so welcome back, guys. But this, for us, the Work and Health programme really kind of got us excited again, and kind of really aligns with the types of programmes that we design and really what we want to achieve. So kind of the purpose of this next part is really just to introduce Rise2Thrive to you, our sort of vision for the programme, and then sort of like our role within that, what we can do to support you guys to hopefully make this programme a success. So Alex, if you'd like to move on, please. Perfect. So Rise2Thrive, you've heard Natasha mentioned our Accident Towards Inclusion programme that we ran in North Yorkshire, working with people who were the furthest away from the labour market to move them into or closer to employment. And what we found was our key workers were working tirelessly and really moving mountains for participants who were achieving wonderful, wonderful things. But then once they got into work, technically that funding kind of finished. And we all know that when you're working with people who have faced multiple complex challenges, that actually new barriers arise when you move into the workplace. Your challenges from before don't just go away, and in some instances they can be exacerbated. So we created a programme called Thriving at Work, which would support those people, especially those people who were facing challenges such as neurodiversity, a disability or work limiting health condition, or were experiencing mental health challenges. So we could support them to really thrive. And as the new funding has come out through UK Shared Prosperity Fund, we've got quite excited because it's a real opportunity to merge the two. So bring the best bits of both of those programmes to life, so we can work with a whole range of people who are facing multiple challenges to either move towards the labour market or to stay and thrive in work. We want this programme to make such a difference to the lives of people. We talk about the ripple effect, so supporting one person in a family has a really positive impact on the rest of the people in the family, the rest of the people in their workplace. We want to be able to support you guys as partners to build capacity, improve your networks, and really sort of have a really meaningful impact across the board on everybody who's involved in this programme. Like Natasha said, we want to work collaboratively. We're not here to prescribe and tell you what to do and how to do it. You guys are the experts in delivery and working with people who face these challenges. And what we want to empower you to be able to do that and work with people in the way that they need. Next slide, Alex, please. So this is our model. It was much, much more complicated than this when I first pulled it together. I think there was about 25 different boxes on it. It was a bit of a beast. But we've managed to distill it down into kind of three key sort of components in terms of the partners that we're looking for. So we have the key workers. They are the glue that holds everything together. The people that support participants on a one-to-one basis, working with them to really identify what their challenges are and what their barriers are to moving forward. So helping those people to access different interventions, to access different services within their communities, and sort of helping build their confidence and helping them move forward. We have our intervention partners, so this generally is for shorter, more niche provision. So it could be anything from support with finances, support with health and well-being, so things like counselling, peer support, wellbeing activities, anything that sits under a skills umbrella that maybe people are struggling to access already. So green skills, maths and English, digital skills, anything really that might be preventing somebody from moving forward. What I would like to say here is this model isn't to compete with or replace existing provision that's already available in West Yorkshire. What we want to do is enhance what's already there. So working with participants, if provision for them is best placed outside of our programme, then we will 100% encourage that. We want to build sort of the services and provisions for participants across West Yorkshire, and that includes outside of our specific project. We've added in infrastructure partners. So as Natasha had said, we haven't worked in West Yorkshire for a little while now. I think 2019 was when Talent Match finished. And because we haven't really had a foothold in West Yorkshire from then to now, we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of everybody. We want to make sure that each district has a voice. We want to make sure that we're aligning provision, and we want to make sure that the needs of West Yorkshire and the participants within those different districts are being met. So we are looking for 3 different types of partners. Some people can, and obviously you can do more than one of those. It's not, you just have to pick one. And hopefully, because of how we've structured our model, our outcomes and our outputs will happen quite authentically. One of the really big things that we're quite passionate about is we don't want to hit the target and miss the point. We really, really want to support people to make sustainable, positive life choices as a result of the provision that they've received. Next slide, please, Alex. So as I mentioned, there's 4 key roles. The key workers, the glue that holds everything together. In our mind, key workers, as well as Better Connect, will be working to generate referrals, liaising with people like the DWP, social prescribers, any links within your communities where there might be people that need our support, essentially. Our intervention partners, again, can recruit directly to their provision, but it would be with the intention to hopefully refer those people into key worker support afterwards. We don't want to create additional barriers for people who might not be ready to access key worker support, but in reality might need it. So starting with intervention provision might be a really good way for us as a project to support more people. I've already touched on the role of the infrastructure partner. Ideally, we're looking for one in each district. We want to make sure that each district has its own voice and that the wider project really is meeting the needs of those districts. And then lastly, an evaluation partner. So as Natasha mentioned, we have just done some evaluation and impact report of Better Connect as a whole, and it's been absolutely mind-blowing to see the difference we can make. And what we want to be able to do is show that through our projects, and to do that well and to do that in a way that really celebrates what we do. It has to start from the beginning. We don't want it to be a look back. We want it to be a work with and inform. So in our mind, the evaluation partner would contribute to our theory of change, help us to really develop and evolve the project as a partnership, so that we're meeting the most people's needs in the best way possible. Next slide, please, Alex. So our role, we are really, really passionate about what we do. Like I said before, this is the first kind of opportunity that's got us really excited, where we think we've got a genuine opportunity here to make a difference. We like to think we do things a little bit differently. One of our favourite sort of lines is, it's not what we do, it's the way that we do it. We want to support all our partners to be the best they can be, to work with people in the way they want to work with them, and as a result have the best possible outcomes, both for the participants engaging with our projects, but also for the organisations that are delivering within them. We want to be able to bring in a peer support network for all delivery partners. Every partner will experience challenges and celebrate success in different ways from working with different people, and we want to be able to provide an opportunity where these things can be shared and we can learn together and hopefully inform future delivery and how we can best navigate working with people who are facing significant challenge. We like to think we create systems and monitoring that is as efficient and as straightforward as possible. We'll all be familiar with some of the ESF sort of reporting, and we laugh, it was a challenge, I think is fair to say, for a lot of us, a lot of times. But what we're committed to is obviously trying to meet the needs of the funder, but creating systems that don't detract from the great work that you guys do, and we try and make it as simple as possible. Hannah obviously is on the call today. She's our impact manager, and one of the things we do really, really well is create case studies that really celebrate our participants, our delivery partners, our partnership approach, and also the impact that our programs have on the lives of individuals. And what I'm going to move you on to next is a case study video that it's quite a recent video. It's one that we produced for our Thriving at Work programme, so working with people who were already in employment and sort of in our mind would be similar to some of the people in employment that we would hopefully work with on this programme. And hopefully this really kind of celebrates the impact our projects can have, the participant themselves, but also the organisations that we work with. And as a commitment within this programme, we'd like to be able to bring more of these case studies to life, and work with as many partners as possible to really celebrate, hopefully, the success of this project. Next slide, Alex, please.
Is the next slide the video?
Yes.
Okay, so hopefully this should work just automatically. Please make sure your sound is on and turned up. And just, Emma, if you can just let me know if it's working, you can hear the sound, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, it's good.
When I was going through a tough time with my own mental health, it was a struggle. I was wearing a mask, nobody around me knew, and trying to keep up that persona, that energy, was draining. It's probably about 4.5 years ago now, and my mental health had taken a massive dip. Accumulated over a period of time, lots of life events, tragedies, trauma, and ended up attempting to take my own life multiple times. And then finally found help through my community mental health team, directed me in the direction of working for health. From there, carried on engaging in every group I could, like my life depended on it, because it did. The support I've received has been phenomenal. Just the guidance as well, through working for health. I changed my career completely after my own lived experiences. I decided that I wanted to give back, help others and try and prevent others from feeling the way I did and reaching the point that I did. Through the support and help of working for health, I've been able to secure employment and able to use my experience to continue inspiring and developing that hope that I have within me, to use my experience for the better rather than dwelling on it. Thanks to working for health and the Thriving at Work programme, I'm able to do that confidently.
Thriving at Work is a very complementary service to this organisation, because it allows us to work with the employed community for people that experience mental illness, physical disabilities and a neurodivergent. Thriving at Work has allowed us to continue supporting somebody through the process of securing work, but maintaining and sustaining it as well. The impact has been incredible. The idea is to promote that positive culture so people are happier and healthier in work. Support doesn't necessarily need to stop when people secure work. I think people need support to be continued.
The transformation's been massive. It's incredible. The impact it's had on my family is massive. I'm a good role model. I'm more present with them, with my wife, my parents, even my brothers. I'm a lot more present with my children, my nieces, my nephews. I'm just there, and it feels like I'm there, whereas previously it'd be like I was sat above just watching and I couldn't do anything to change it, whereas now I feel like I'm in control.
Just to say as well, if anyone wants to see any more of our case studies, they are on our website and also on our YouTube.
Awesome, thank you, Hannah. Sorry if that was a little bit glitchy for people. My video was a bit clunky, but obviously the words were still great, and obviously I've seen this video probably 100 times now, and every time it kind of makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside to know that we've been able to create a project that genuinely has made such a big difference on someone's life. This is one of our favourite slides that I think we include in every presentation that we do. So apologies to anybody that's seen it many times, but it just really celebrates kind of everybody that we work with, from participants to delivery partners to whole partnerships. And for me, it's just full of joy. Like, everybody in this picture somewhere has had some challenges, some sort of challenge that has been improved, supported, just been a listening ear, that has really kind of helped people make positive changes. We genuinely exist to create these partnerships. We want to lead projects that make such a significant difference, and that's kind of what we're here to try and not sell you today, but just kind of really help you understand why we exist and who we exist for. So moving on to the next slide, please, Alex. So this really is about how you apply to Rise to Thrive. So all the information is on our website. There is a guidance document which has everything you could possibly need to know about everything that you need to know for this bid, to be honest, where there are questions that rely on you writing sentences. There are details about what it is we're looking for in those boxes. We have tried to streamline the expression of interest. It's beastie in length, and I do apologise for that, but we have tried to make it as many yes/no questions as possible. Alex and I have also made a commitment to, in the new year, once all the crazy has died down, to try and find a better way of engaging with partners and creating a process that is easy for all of us. Rest assured, we feel your pain when it comes to filling out bids and applications and expression of interest. We ideally would like to find a way that makes it easier for all of us. There is an Annex D, so that is available, that is on our website, and that essentially is a form that says, I'm happy to be included in this bid. If we don't receive that form, we can't include you, or if we do include you, our whole application can be kicked out, essentially. That being said, anybody that forgets to submit a form, I know it can be quite complicated and it's very easy to miss something like this. We will come back out to you to say, please can you just sign this bit for us, and that will be fine. We certainly won't be discounting people if they've forgotten to attach one of the forms that we've asked you to attach. We will come back out to you and say, do you realise you've missed this bit, or please can you complete this section for us. So similarly with the costings and the expenditure template, hopefully they're as straightforward to use as possible. If not, please do get in touch. We're very happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'm available most of the time, and I'm happy to have extra calls with people if people want to talk about this further, or like I said, just drop me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Next one, Alex, please. And then, yeah, this is just our Connect With Us slide. So the four of us that are here today from Better Connect. Here's our email addresses. The QR code will take you to our link tree. I knew it was a tree, just couldn't remember what type. That has all the information about our socials, and so on and so forth. So that in a nutshell is everything we wanted to share with you today. So we're going to stop sharing our screen, hopefully. When I say we, obviously I mean the royal we, because Alex is in charge. And just open the floor up to any questions that people might have, any comments, just anything really that anybody would like to say. And don't be shy. Anybody?
Hi, well, Emma. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. The interventions, Emma.
Yes.
Have you got any guidance on length or kind of things or accreditation or?
No, so it's kind of it's that we want to give you as much freedom as possible within a very loose structure. So essentially, those interventions are headlines, and it's anything you would like to deliver or think you should be able to deliver under those headlines for those participants. We're really keen not to be too prescriptive. So what I would say to you is anything that you'd write in your expression of interest that you wanted to deliver, but maybe found wasn't meeting the needs of the participants you're engaging with, you'd be very welcome to evolve those and tweak those accordingly. So they are just headlines. Anything that fits under those headlines, you're very welcome to offer an intervention for. Some will be longer, obviously. So if you think of people that are trying to achieve their functional skills, maths and English, obviously they take a little bit longer, and others may be a little bit shorter, but we're not going to be prescriptive about how long you should be working with people.
Thank you, Emma. And are they all, I'm assuming they're all groups that you're looking for interventions, or we could refer somebody on to a college, or depends.
It's entirely up to you.
Okay.
The idea is any interventions offered within the partnership, any participant can access.
Okay.
So as a key worker, you could refer them into a different organisation. We're all working together to improve those people's lives. So we're we're sharing participants, for want of a better phrase. Equally, if there isn't the provision within the partnership that quite meets their needs, you can just refer them out, and that
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask what evidence that will be required to back up the results of this programme?
That will definitely be led by the Combined Authority.
Right.
We will be designing some sort of monitoring paperwork that is as simple and as easy and with the least time constraints as possible, that will capture what is being done. We are waiting for extra guidance from the Combined Authority. I have noticed in some of the information that we've got, it's little things like a participant sending an email to their key worker to confirm that they've been to the job centre would count as engaging with the job centre. I don't think it's the same level of evidence requirements that we've had on ESF, but it certainly isn't any. I've got lots of hands up. Michelle, I think you were first.
Hi, so my services just cover Bradford, Airedale, Wharfdale and Craven. Do we need to be providing West Yorkshire wide for this?
No, so you are, the whole point of trying to engage with sort of local organisations is so you can serve your local community. The beauty of having a West Yorkshire wide partnership means that we can share knowledge, expertise and sort of celebrate success and challenges together. It certainly doesn't mean that you have to deliver everywhere. We want a good quality offer, not a diluted offer. So wherever you're based and wherever you think you could reasonably deliver, we would welcome.
Brilliant, thank you.
Anna?
It's just sort of on the finance side of things, which I did send you an email about, Emma, so thanks for the response. But it was more just how the numbers stack up, because I'm trying to get my head around the two forms, the volumes, and how those two sort of relate. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. So the costings form is nothing more than a calculator, for want of a better phrase. So we do have unit costs, and like I explained to you in the email, the unit cost, we're not doing payment by results. It's not payment by outputs. We don't think that is a great model. It certainly doesn't encourage good behaviour, for want of a better phrase. It's just a way for us to fairly allocate money. So that the costing spreadsheet is genuinely just a calculator to work out, if I'm going to work with 10 people, this is how much money I have in my pot. The expenditure template it helps us to inform the granular budget, so that is a requirement of the Combined Authority. So it's a lot of work for us. The total value that you get in the costing spreadsheet is how much money you've got to work with to basically spend on staff costs, venue hire, consumables, that sort of thing. So they're linked in terms of one gives you the total value available, and then the other is how you want to spend it, if that helps.
So, for example, so say we're bidding for a key worker, so a full-time member of staff.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at the volume, you know, in terms of the numbers that are on the sheet of the people to work with, and the value of the key worker plus the 15% on costs, there doesn't seem to be any money left over for intervention. You know, like I'm confused on sort of the
intervention is on top of. So if you were delivering interventions as well, you would add those into the costing spreadsheet, and that would give you £500 per person to add into your pot. So you could deliver both. You could be a key worker, and you could be an intervention partner offering to 10 people each time.
But for example, then when that adds up, from Bradford, you've allocated 400,000, for example. Those, from my point, well, I don't know, the numbers don't seem to equal. Anyway, maybe I'll have further conversations with you about it.
Yeah, that's fine. The money has been worked out based on the number of workless households in each district.
Yeah.
And then the unit cost has been applied. It's the same unit cost for each district. So, are you talking about the number of key worker organisations in the column?
Yeah, and the number of you know, people that we expect to be. You know, for example, if there is only X amount of money, but you're then getting paid a £500 extra payment for doing an intervention, there seems to be too much.
You don't get paid an extra £500. It's not payment by results. So it's just to inform your total contract value.
Yeah, okay. The unit costs are basically just there to help us to distribute the funding fairly to organisations, if that makes sense. So you won't actually be paid, like Emma says, on outcomes. It's not like a unit cost payment. You use the unit cost calculator to say how many volumes you can deliver. That gives you a total budget amount, and that's how much you have to kind of work with. But that's paid to you in installments rather than being paid on outcomes, if that makes sense.
So we could either claim that as, you know, we would get more participants involved, or we could have less participants per key worker and deliver some interventions as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be quiet now. Thanks.
No, you're fine. Honestly, it's no problem. I'm not 100% sure who was next, Alex, because my screen keeps moving.
I'm not sure either. We've got quite a lot of questions coming through in the chat as well.
Yeah.
So should we cover some of those now? Because I'm just conscious that they might have been asked first. So the first one's, how do you ensure geographical coverage and that participants reflect the demographics of West Yorkshire?
I mean, that's a really good question. Essentially, we've opened this programme up to everybody across West Yorkshire. It's for us, I think, when we're awarding, to kind of make sure that we're not too saturated in different places. I think part of the geographical locations question is to sort of say where you're based. So if you've ticked Bradford, whereabouts in Bradford are you? Like, Bradford is a huge district, similarly with the other districts too. So that's a challenge we've got, to make sure when we're awarding, we are making sure that everybody has the opportunity to access the provision that needs it. Equally, what I would say is, if you are working in Wakefield city centre and somebody from rural Wakefield would like to access your services, if you can work with them. Where, you know, when we don't want to add geographical barriers to people. We don't want to make it harder for people to access the provision that they need. Our intention is to make it as flexible as possible, which obviously creates more and more sort of questions, sort of, you know, what are the rules? I'm not going to say there are no rules, because that opens up a whole other can of worms. But at the same time, we want to be as flexible as we can possibly be.
So the next question was, we would class ourselves as a key worker organisation, but deliver many of the interventions within our work as well. Does this mean that we provide information under both categories, even though it will be the same participants?
Yep, that's absolutely fine.
And then the next one is a question about the volumes in the use. So basically, in the interventions table, when they're putting the volumes in, is that referring to individual interventions, or is it referring to the number of people?
People.
There we go. Hopefully that answers that question. So Really, oh, that's the person's going. Obviously, someone from the Open Universities mentioned that they'd like to make links. They've put their details in the chat. Similarly, somebody from spiceframework.com. Hello, are you looking to bring in the evaluation partner as part of putting in this initial bid, or would you put out a competitive invitation to tender for the evaluation once you've secured the funding?
We've included it in this bid purely because it's only 1 year's worth of funding, and I think if we were to wait, we're not going to have an evaluation partner for the whole duration of the project. And as we'd sort of said before, we feel like evaluation is so important from the start. We want to make sure that we're getting the best out of the programme, so included in this bid.
Brilliant. That's up to date now on the chat, so.
Awesome. So I'll go back to hands up. So we've got John, if you'd like to ask your question, please.
Yes, so just to go back to how the funding works. So if we design a programme that would deliver some interventions, we put a staffing model together and think, yeah, that'll work, and we might do a certain volume, say 80. Do we get an award against the 80? And then as long as we perform reasonably close to that, that's what we get? And is there an issue if some of the people we support have been supported by other people? Because I know on some other programs there was like arguments of, that participant could only be counted by one provider, and if they rocked up elsewhere, they were in effect a ghost and didn't count for numbers.
In terms of intervention delivery, it doesn't matter how many interventions participants access. Sort of restricting participants to one intervention doesn't address all their barriers, and I think would create more challenges for people, which kind of goes against the ethos of the programme. In terms of key worker numbers, so the engagement with unique individuals that only be able to be counted once, and that's essentially just because they could be on programme for the full 12 months, they could be on programme for 2 months, and it's just to help us keep on top of it. I know somebody had asked me a question in an email, what happens if somebody disengages? They would still count as starts for you because they have engaged with the programme at the entry stage. They may not count towards outcomes, which is absolutely fine. We don't expect every single participant to get an outcome. Equally, they are allowed to re-engage with the service if they have a break and realise actually they were getting the support that they needed. We're not going to inflict rules that just because they've had one turn they can't have another. Adriana? I'm so sorry, Andrina, I can't read.
It's all right. Hiya. Andrina, you got there. It's just a quick question. I'm thinking about like infrastructure as an infrastructure organisation and putting forward an expression of interest, but also thinking about volunteering and the work that we do with around inclusive volunteering. So my question is, would I submit one expression of interest or would I package it as a whole offer?
Just one expression of interest, and just on it say which bits you want to be included in.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem. That was a nice, easy one. Stephen?
Thanks. I had 2 questions. I think you've answered the first one, which was the time frames. So it's 1 year's funding.
Yeah.
Second question, you can be both a key worker partner and an intervention partner. I get that. Can you work across the pillars in the intervention space? Is that permitted?
100%, yeah.
Is it encouraged? Is it discouraged?
For me, as long as you've got the expertise and, can deliver it at high quality, then you can, yes, 100% encouraged. I don't think it's for us to say what you can and can't offer. Your organisations, where your expertise lies. So for me, if you're able to deliver a variety of interventions across all 3 pillars, then that would be absolutely welcomed.
So what if it were operating like that in partnership with another organisation? How do we submit the expression? So that we may well have a partnership that could work across 2 of these that we already have within the organisation. So do we put that through as a lead provider model?
As in to be delivered through, is it all delivered through Mind or is it delivered through?
It would be delivered through 2 partners.
So we would encourage the partners to apply independently.
So 2 separate submissions, but for the same thing.
I mean, it depends. I don't know what the offer is. It's quite hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
This might be benefit from another conversation, actually, just about how it works. Because we'll always work in the most pragmatic way that we can.
Yeah, I think what's important to mention is that for the contracting, it would need to come through, so an application, which, if we're successful with the bid, would lead to obviously a service level agreement, a contract. That has to be on a single organisation basis. There couldn't be then a kind of separate subcontracting arrangement. So
so we'd probably complete the expression as a lead provider model for that contracting purpose. Got you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Jackie.
Hiya, Emma. Sorry, it's taken us too long to unmute myself there on Zoom. I think I've picked this up correctly. So if we want to put ourselves forward for a key worker category and the intervention category, it's your key worker participants are all individuals. If they then do, say, 3 of the interventions, do you get 3 times the 500? Or do you just get what? Yeah, so that's how we would work out the.
Yeah, so if you decided, I'll say, if you wanted to work with 10 participants as a key worker, that you felt you could offer 10 people access to budgeting, 10 people access to wellbeing, and 10 people access to digital skills. They could be the same 10 people, or they could be different 30 people. It's does that make sense?
It does. It does. Yes.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you.
We just have a question in the chat, Emma. It says, could I ask about demographics of anticipated clients with young people up to the age of 25? How many of your volume calculation is based on an understanding of the ranges of ages of people they expect this funding to support?
So the only eligibility criteria from the combined authority in terms of age is that they've got to be age 16 plus. So anybody who is age 16 and over is eligible to take part in this programme. We had a similar discussion earlier about older people. I think as long as people are of working age, if they are in the economically inactive bracket, great. Anybody who's in work, you could be 16, you could be 75 if you were still in employment. The boundaries, the demographic boundaries in terms of age are quite flexible.
I think just to add to that, like, we would sort of strongly encourage applications from, organisations that are working with younger people who are struggling, with getting into employment or struggling in the workplace. It's one of the kind of key demographics that we are hoping to engage with through this project, as well as lots of other demographics as well. So that's the kind of purpose of putting together a holistic partnership. We want diverse organisations that are rooted in the local communities who understand the kind of the district needs. So yeah, the more applications and the more partners that we can kind of bring into this, the better, really.
I think there's just one other thing I wanted to say just around each of the districts. We are really trying to take the time to understand what the key priorities are in each of those. So and also the sort of referral organisations that we could work with. So for example, in Bradford, we've engaged with Skills House to understand how we can work with them and how that sort of that pathway could work. In Wakefield, the same thing around the provision for ex-offenders and carers, Wakefield. So just we are really trying to ensure that we reach the people that need the help the most in each of these districts. We do care about each of those districts and making sure the provision is right. So we would welcome your applications if you just support people in Bradford. We really welcome all of those. We want locally rooted organisations to work with so that we can reach those people.
Awesome. Are there any more questions from people?
Just to clarify the question in the chat around economically inactive, because that is a term that obviously is used quite a lot, and I think sometimes it's not always super clear, and even the definition isn't actually that easy to understand. But it's somebody who's out of work, so somebody who's not working at all, and they're actually not actively looking for work as well, so they aren't kind of immediately available. So it used to be that difference between people who were job seekers versus like JSA claimants versus ESA claimants, but that's not a perfect explanation, really. So yeah, it's people that are out of work but not actively seeking work. And then the term unemployed with regards to employability project usually means people who are out of work but who are actively seeking work. So this provision isn't actually available to unemployed people. It's specifically for inactive people and, like Emma said, also people who are in work.
And in terms of people who are in work, we're intending to write into our bid that we can work with people who are returning from maternity and paternity leave, people who have been on long-term sick, anybody really that on our historical projects, in one breath they're classed as economically inactive and in another they've been classed as employed, where they've kind of dropped through the gaps. They haven't really met the criteria for either side of the programmes. So we really want to put some sort of provision in for those people. I know, talking from colleagues at Better Connect, that transition from not being a parent to being a parent and then going back to work is quite a big one. And it'd be really great if we can, through this type of programme, that we can support those people too.
One last question in the chat, Emma. If we're already a skills house partner, would this be incorporated within, or would it be additional?
Additional.
And another one's come through. Can we work with underemployed graduates, such as graduates working at McDonald's?
Yeah, because they're employed. So you've got that, they're at that end of the spectrum. We can work with employed people. So anybody that's got a zero hours contract, anybody that's underemployed that is working. We are asking that those people are experiencing neurodivergence, have a disability or work limiting health condition, or experience mental health challenges. These do not have to be diagnosed. So the example of working with graduates might be the stress of not having the job they thought they were going to get out of university could put them under the currently experiencing mental health challenges around sort of being in employment. So the terms are quite loose. Again, we're trying to create as few barriers to engagement as possible, to work with as many people as we can. Any more questions?
I think we've
Joe. Just got
Sorry.
Joe.
Just sneaked in under the line there. Yeah, have you got any thoughts on mobilisation of the contract? Because in my experience, quite often when political sign-offs are coming in on funding, it can quite often get delayed and impact on mobilisation. And there's some very sort of clear questions on mobilisation, rightly so. But yeah, it's just quite an interesting area to consider, really.
Yeah. I can add something here, Emma. Just, we've experienced this obviously in some of our other programs. We've also experienced it under UKSPF. And I'm not saying we can't make any promises, but what we can do is advocate on behalf of the VCSE organisations. So, for example, if a programme starts and payments are delayed, or we will shout very loudly around that. And what I can say is that in another programme, we've managed to actually ensure that the outcomes were reduced as a result of that lack of delivery. I can't promise that. But what we can say is that we are very, very proactive and active in shouting loudly around, the support that's needed for VCSE organisations generally.
We're also really committed to doing the work before we find out if we've been successful. I think all of our projects, all of our programmes have required a lot of behind the scenes work before that start date. We certainly don't intend of getting to the 1st of April and going like, ta-da, off we go. We will put in the graph to make sure we've got everything in place to make sure that from the 1st of April, should we be successful, that we're all ready to go. We will be having a launch event. So I think we'd had a discussion to maybe have that in March, where we can all come together, talk about sort of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, get the right referral agencies in the room so people know who we are and what our intentions are with the project. We will shout from the rooftops about our programmes and make sure that hopefully all the people that need to know about the provision and the partners that we've got within our partnerships and the support that we can offer.
Just to add as well, we are in a good position where we're delivering similar UKSPF provision in other areas of Yorkshire. So we're already mobilised in other areas. So a lot of the setup stuff we'll be able to kind of, use similar systems and frameworks. So we'll save time that way. And then just the other things, the West Yorkshire Combined Authority have been, very clear through this whole process that they will only consider applications from partnerships where it's very clear that they will be able to deliver straight away from April the 1st. So it's one of the things we're really focused on, and that will obviously integrate into the bid. And part of our EOI process is obviously capturing that delivery partners are in that position to get going straight away from April as well.
Joe, do you have another question?
Thanks. Yeah, I thought of something completely different.
Okay.
The infrastructure support role that is mentioned in your document, do you know you've allocated 100,000 to that? Do you know how you're going to allocate that district by district?
It would just be split equally. So it was a model that we used on Talent Match on our last programme that we did in West Yorkshire. It's just ensuring that we've got a little bit of money in each district to make sure we can all come together. Hopefully it's enough to keep to sort of keep it.
No, it's not criticism. I was just wondering, because you've done proportional splits on the other areas according to need, haven't you? And I thought that might go 20% each area, isn't it? Is what you're saying? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Any more questions?
I think we've probably come to an end. But just again, wanted to really pass on our absolute thanks for coming to this. I think it's been really useful to hear those questions. If you have any more questions, please feel free to email us. You've got Emma's contact details. If you think things need more time to discuss, obviously we would be happy to do that. If you have questions on that expression of interest, as Emma said, the guidance notes are really helpful. I would encourage you to look at those, but also you can contact us too. Don't let that be a barrier. Please come and talk to us. But really grateful for your time today. This recording will be uploaded onto the website as well. So thank you very much, and you get some time back.
Enjoy everybody.
Thanks everyone. Thank you very much.
I think you can probably stop recording now, Alex.
Yeah, right, okay, so that's
Emma,
yeah.
I've thrown you 2 emails while this has been going on.